Hello, welcome to the Fox Fight Game. I'm Mike Straka, and we have a very special episode for you today. We're not going to talk mixed martial arts. We're going to talk a little bit about boxing, but not with a boxer. We're going to talk with somebody who became intimately familiar with one of the most famous boxers of our time, Mike Tyson. This is James Toback, the director of the documentary Tyson. James, thanks for joining us here on Fox Fight Game.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I interview fighters all the time, mixed martial arts guys. And I can ask them questions about what it's like to be in the octagon, what it's like to be in a fight. And I'm very presumptuous in these questions. You know, I'll say things like, why didn't you finish your opponent off? Why were you hesitating? Things like that. And they look at me and give me a dirty look, and then they answer the question. Then I watched Tyson. And I came out of your film and I thought to myself, wow, I am pretty presumptuous. Who am I to think that I can get in a fighter's head? And that's what you do for 90 minutes. You let us into this world-class fighter's head, and it's a messed up place to be. How did you get to know him, and what was it like filming this movie?
Well, when I met him, he was wide-eyed innocent. He was semi-innocent. He was 19, not yet heavyweight champion. He came by the set of The Pickup Artist, and which I was doing with Downey.
Mm-hmm. Your first movie with Downey.
Yep.
Second one being Two Girls and a Guy.
That's right, which is going to come out on Blu-ray soon.
Cool.
And he wanted to meet
Heather Graham and Blu-ray. I'll buy that one.
and then what happened was we hit it off. He was curious about Jim Brown, whose house he'd visited the week before, and I used to live with Jim before that, so he wanted to know about the orgies in Jim Brown's house, and we had a long talk about that.
Didn't you do a film called Black and White or a book?
I did, right. I did, which was Tyson's in also, actually. So over the years, Mike and I stayed very friendly. When he got out of prison, I thought that he would be great in Black and White because the whole hip-hop world idolized him. He's an icon, and he still is. Actually, Nas did a song about him in this movie, in Tyson. But I used him in Black and White, which was a collaboration with Wu-Tang Clan. Plays himself. There's a great scene where Downey hits on him relentlessly. He's the gay husband of Brooke Shields, and Mike smacks Downey, chokes him, slams him on the ground, and then is intimidated by Brooke Shields, who hits on him. He doesn't know how to handle it. But he's great in the movie. And we talked about doing a broader movie, a whole portrait, which this is what came of it. Mm-hmm. And once we decided to do it, there was no question we had to go all the way. So he just let it out. And
let it out he did. You know, I didn't know anything about the film going into it when I watched it. And I'm sitting in the theater and watching him sit down on the couch the whole time, and it was one of the most honest things I think I've ever seen. Did you know what you were doing when you went into it, or did you think, let me just tape this guy and see what's going to happen?
I have to say, I hoped I would get something close to what I got. I really got more than I expected. Even though I'd known him for a long, long time, a lot of stuff came out that I didn't know. But it wasn't just information that I didn't know. He was even more open than he was in these late-night conversations we've had over the years about intimate subjects. Often he'll call me out of the blue. 2-3 months have gone by since I've last spoken to him, and he'll say, Jim Toback, Mike Tyson, as if I don't know the voice. And then we'll be into murder, sex, love, crime, death, you know, and then we say goodbye and we speak a month later, 2 months later. But even those conversations didn't prepare me for how intimate and how open he was. And my only assumption can be, even though he would deny this, because he says he just was doing it because I asked him to, I think he has a fundamentally confessional nature. And I think with all the stuff that's been written about him, which he knows isn't true and which misrepresents him and makes him feel as if he's reading about a freak and not about himself, he wanted a chance to get out into the public now and as a kind of act of immortality and say, this is who I was, not the person you thought you knew, not the monster you've been imagining you knew, but this is who I am, unadulterated, no lies, no censorship. Whatever you think, at least think it of the person I'm now showing you, not what you've heard and read.
Now, we all saw, or whoever sees the film will see certain flashbacks, some used B-roll and some natural sound of Tyson at different press conferences. And the day he went after the reporter and said things like, you know, I'll have sex with you and I will screw you. I screwed guys like you in prison. I'll make you love me. When he's watching that 10 years later, does he think to himself, who the hell was that guy?
He does. It's very interesting you say that. The third time he saw the movie was at Sundance. And and we got this huge ovation afterward, and now we're at the party. And I could see he was thinking about something off in his own space. And I said, what have you been thinking about? He said, I was thinking watching the movie tonight. Everybody used to say that I was crazy, they were scared of me, and scared of Mike Tyson. I thought, what are they talking about? Why are they scared of me? He said, watching the movie tonight, I was scared of the guy that I was seeing.
Interesting.
And because he's traveled a big distance since then. And I think that, and I included that press conference you're talking about because I wanted to show one clear, vivid manifestation of that Mike Tyson, because it was probably the single most extreme flip out other than the end of the Holyfield fight, which isn't verbal. There it's physical, where he's trying, after the ear-biting episode, to break through 100 people and get at Holyfield even after the fight is over. But that's physical. Here it's verbal, and it's actually a kind of poetic trash talk. I mean, he really has a rhythm to that. He gets on a kind of zone, and you can only imagine this guy shrinking into oblivion as he's... By the way, you can barely hear it. I did as best I could with the sound. The line that he threw out to provoke that in Tyson was, "You belong in a straitjacket." And Tyson came back with, "Your mother belongs in a straitjacket," and then just went on and on and on.